By the end of this lesson, learners will have a comprehensive understanding of several key aspects of eye anatomy and function. They'll be able to describe the structure of eyelashes, including the three main components, the medulla, cortex and cuticle, and understand the role each plays in protecting the eye and maintaining the health of the eyelid margin. Additionally, learners will gain insight into the life cycle of eyelashes, being able to identify and explain the anagen, catagen and telogen phases, including how long each phase typically lasts and what factors influence eyelash growth and length. We'll also delve into the anatomy and function of the lacrimal system, where learners will be able to describe the different parts such as the lacrimal gland, lacrimal sac and nasolacrimal duct. They will understand how tears are produced, drained and their crucial role in maintaining eye health. Moreover, learners will explore the structural components of the eye, such as the cornea, lens, retina and optic nerve, and will understand how these structures contribute to the process of vision and overall eye function. Finally, we will examine the anatomy and protective role of the eyelid. Learners will be able to explain the components of the eyelid, including the tarsus, meibomian glands and the orbicularis oculi muscle, and understand how the eyelid protects the eye from injury and helps to maintain a healthy and moist environment for the eye's surface. By the end of this lesson, learners will have a well-rounded understanding of these vital aspects of eye health and function. Eyelashes play an essential role in protecting our eyes and maintaining the health of the lid margin. On the lower lid, we typically have around 75 to 80 lashes arranged in 3 to 4 rows. Meanwhile, the upper lid is more densely populated with 90 to 160 lashes spread across 5 to 6 rows. These lashes are carefully positioned to help protect our eyes from dust, debris and other potential irritants, ensuring our eyes stay healthy and well protected. The structure of the lash is quite fascinating and is made up of 3 key components that fit together. At the very core is the innermost structure called the medulla, which consists of loose cells. Surrounding the medulla is a thicker layer known as the cortex, which provides the lash with strength and stability. The colour or pigment of the lash comes from the melanin present in this cortex. Finally, the outermost layer is the cuticle, which is made up of several cell layers. This cuticle acts as a protective barrier, shielding the inner structures of the lash due to its impermeable nature. Lashes go through a life cycle that involves 3 distinct phases: the growth phase, also known as the anagen phase, the degradation phase or catagen, and finally the resting phase called telogen. Each lash starts its journey in the anagen phase, where it actively grows. This phase can last anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks, depending on various factors. Once the lash has grown to its maximum potential, it enters the catagen phase, where growth stops and the lash begins to degrade slightly. After that, it moves to the telogen phase, where it rests. Eventually, the lash will naturally fall out during this resting phase, making way for a new lash to start growing in the anagen phase again, thus continuing the cycle. On a daily basis, a lash typically grows at a rate of 0.12 to 0.14 millimeters. The entire life cycle of a lash, from the beginning of the anagen phase to the point where it falls out, can span anywhere from 4 to 11 months. However, unlike the hair on our scalp, lashes rarely grow longer than 12 millimeters. This is because the growth rate and the duration of the anagen phase for lashes are generally shorter compared to scalp hair. So even though lashes do go through similar life cycle as other hair on our body, their unique characteristics results in them being shorter and more delicate. This diagram provides a detailed look at the anatomy of the eye and the structures involved in the tear drainage system. On the left side of the image, you can see the external structures of the eye, focusing on the lacrimal system. The lacrimal gland, located just above the outer corner of the eye, is responsible for producing tears. These tears then flow across the eye and collect in the lacrimal lake, which is the small pool of tears found at the inner corner of the eye. From the lacrimal lake, tears drain through tiny channels called the excretory lacrimal duct and enter the lacrimal sac, located just below the eye near the side of the nose. The tears then pass through the nasolacrimal duct, which channels them into the nasal cavity, explaining why your nose often runs when you cry. On the right side of the image, we see a cross-sectional view of the eye itself, showing various internal structures. The eye is divided into different chambers. The anterior chamber, located between the cornea and the iris, the posterior chamber found between the iris and the lens, and the vitreous humor, which fills the space between the lens and the retina at the back of the eye. Light enters the eye through the cornea, passes through the pupil, which is controlled by the iris, and then through the lens, which focuses the light onto the retina. The retina, located at the back of the eye, contains photoreceptor cells that convert the light into electrical signals. These signals are then transmitted to the brain via the optic nerve, where they are interpreted as visual images. The diagram also highlights other important structures such as the macula, which is responsible for central vision, the sclera, the white part of the eye, and the conjunctiva, a thin membrane covering the sclera and the lining of the inside of the eye. Overall, this image provides a comprehensive overview of how the eye functions and how the lacrimal system plays a critical role in maintaining eye health by managing tear production and drainage. This image gives us an in-depth look at the anatomy and function of the eyelid. Each eyelid contains a fibrous plate known as the tarsus, which is crucial for giving the eyelid its structure and shape. The tarsus serves as a foundation that supports the various components of the eyelid. Additionally, the eyelid is equipped with muscles, particularly the orbicularis oculi muscle, which is responsible for the movement of the eyelid, allowing us to blink and close our eyes. Another important feature within the eyelid is the meibomian glands, referred to as tarsal glands. These glands are responsible for secreting lubricating fluids that help to keep the eye moist and comfortable. This lubrication is essential for the normal functioning of the eye, particularly the conjunctiva and the cornea. The eyelid itself is covered with skin on the outside, while the inside is lined with a mucous membrane. This membrane ensures the eyelid can move smoothly over the surface of the eye without causing irritation. The edge of the eyelid is bordered by a fringe of hairs, which are our eyelashes. these eyelashes play a protective role by helping to protect the eye from dust, debris and other potential irritants.